Hello, class. My name is Sergio Gonzalez, and the epistolary novel that I chose to read was We Need to Talk About Kevin by Lionel Shriver. It's a good book. I chose this novel because it deals with a sociopath killer, and I was intrigued to find out what caused Kevin, that's his name, to do these horrendous actions. I asked myself if his parents perhaps ignored him or simply didn't love him. I also questioned whether Kevin was simply not right in the head. I was going to read Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, but chose to wait until October. Seems like a better read for Halloween. To summarize the novel, with no spoilers, Eva, the mother of Kevin, writes to her ex-husband. She talks to him about her current life, on how she's handling being the mother of Kevin the killer. She talks about the decision of having children. She talks about her emotional state during her pregnancy, and she describes how Kevin was always a problem when he was growing up. Eva feels that Kevin only acted out when alone with her. When his father would be with Kevin or come in with her and Kevin, he would act normal. Eva struggles with Kevin even when in prison. Their connection is that of disgust for each other. Eva fears him, I must say. This epistolary novel is all based on Eva's letters. She is writing to her husband, ex-husband. She is the one in control of what the reader learns. We see her grow based on these letters. We see her get to confront Kevin and all the people who blamed her for his actions. She even blamed herself at one point. By writing these letters, she learned to accept it and, in a way, moved on with her life. This novel was great. Any weaknesses? Let's see. Since Eva is in control, she could be biased. She might be leaving parts out. Either way, she is the one affected the most by this. So I suppose she will be the most reliable person to be sharing this. The epistolary form seems to be the best way for this novel because, again, Eva was the most affected. So she told the story through her letters to her ex-husband. So it was a recalling novel. She begins after her son is already in jail and begins to recall his upbringings. And then she talks about her current lifestyle. And it keeps repeating with this pattern. It seems to be the best option to get the point through. Maybe if it was a chronological story, perhaps it would not fit, but since it's simply recalling from Eva, it makes perfect sense to have it in its genre. The epistolarity used in these two novels are different. For Gurnsey, it's about love connections growing with each letter, while this novel is about the lack of love between Eva and Kevin, which Kevin never allowed to accept because of his sociopathic tendencies. From Gurnsey, we hear from all the characters, but in this novel, we only hear from Eva, recalling other characters' words and actions along with her beliefs and ideas. If Eva were to write a letter to Juliet about raising Kit, it would look like this. To Juliet, you may have heard of me, or at least my last name, Cachadorian. Yes, my son Kevin killed those kids. He is locked up now, so no need to worry. I just heard you got married and adopted a new girl. How lovely. I just write to you to tell you that raising children is not easy and does not always lead to the outcome you expect. The best thing one can do is love their children. without question and without hesitation. I failed to do this. I feared my child. I let him grab the keys and take charge when I should have taught him how to properly act. My naiveness is what got him to continue this path. My ex-husband did not believe me, so I also agreed in my head that nothing out of the ordinary was happening. My life is marked in the history books now, and all I can do is warn parents of the danger of fearing rather than unconditionally loving their child. One must accept and correct their child. Get them help. Get them away from the path which leads them to prison, in my case, which I failed. But you have a chance to cherish and love your child. You are a great person who took in a child. That alone speaks tremendously and shows that you love her. I don't want to tell you how to parent, but rather tell you how my child turned to this path. He was not okay. He needed help. Listen to them and love them. Never ignore them. Love, Eva. Thanks for listening. I had to cut some stuff out because, there's a lot of stuff happening. I recommend the book.